going on, everybody? Welcome to Catch, Hook, and Shoot on a Monday, June 17th. Sorry about the lateness in getting the show posted this week, but yeah, let's get going here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for listening and subscribing on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and live every week right here on Twitch. And thanks to everybody who's following on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. All of those you can find the show at Catch Hook Shoot. Hope everybody's had a chance to check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/catchhookshoot. The first of the bonus episodes have been posted just this past Saturday, and those are for the month of July. So the next bonus episodes will be up first week of August. I said in those episodes I'm going to try and get the bonus episodes posted the first week of every month. So the ones, like I said, that went up on Saturday are for the month of July. And yeah, hope you guys will head over there and check it out. Again, it's patreon.com/catchhookshoot. We've got a $1, $5, $10, and $20 tier with some pretty cool benefits on each one. So head on over there and check that out. Hope everybody's also had a chance to check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/catchhookshoot. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, if you have any questions, comments, anything you'd like to see or hear me talk about on the show, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So let's jump right into what's been going on in the world of wrestling this week. First of all, with WWE, last week on Raw, we had looks like a new U.S. title picture starting to form here. We had a six-man tag team match with The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet going up against Samoa Joe, Bobby Lashley, and Cesaro. It all kind of stemmed from episode of Miz TV and just kind of spun out of control from there into a six-man tag team match. And this coming week, we're going to have a fatal five-way for the to name a new number one contender for the United States title. So that's going to be the five men that were in that tag team match, other than Samoa Joe, which would be Bobby Lashley, Cesaro, The Miz, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet. Looked like Cesaro was injured in that match. He's the one that took the pinfall against Ricochet. Ricochet hit him with the 630 off the top rope, and just it looked like a bad landing. Instead of hitting Cesaro in his torso, Cesaro was not flat on his back. He was turned a little bit on his side, and Ricochet kind of came down on his arm and his hip, and just didn't look like a good landing. But all reports are saying that Cesaro is fine. He is scheduled to be in that fatal five-way match tonight on Raw. So looks like he dodged a bit of a bullet there. We also saw Kevin Owens with a victory over Seth Rollins. Of course, that was by disqualification because Sami Zayn was the special outside referee and decided to disqualify Rollins there. The reason this came about is because Baron Corbin made the announcement that he will be able to choose a special referee for his Stomping Grounds match for the Universal title against Seth Rollins. So he hasn't said who that's going to be yet. I would assume that's going to probably be coming up this week, probably tonight on Raw. Unless he holds off till the last minute and actually makes the announcement at Stomping Grounds. SmackDown, we saw the Iconics defeat a local tag team. The women's tag team titles in WWE have really kind of fallen off since WrestleMania. Iconics really haven't had any title defenses. They've just wrestled some, like I said, some local teams, but they haven't even had that many matches in general, tag team matches, that is. So I hope that they will kind of amp up the women's division again. It was going pretty strong there for a while and just seems to have fallen off. And now the primary focus of the women's division is the two championships, Raw and SmackDown, and everything is kind of centered around Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, Charlotte, and Bayley, and that's really about it. And now Alexa Bliss is kind of getting back into the mix. But there have been some hints that they're going to start paying a little more attention to the women's division. We've seen some backstage segments with Ember Moon and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. So hopefully, we're going to see some more attention given to the women's division, because it was on fire there for a while. I'm not sure why they got away from it, but hopefully they're going to be getting back to it. Some interesting, entertaining stuff going on with the new 24/7 title for WWE. Now I've said before, I like the concept of the 24/7 title. I'm not fond of the name, and I'm really not fond of the physical belt, because it just could have been done way better. But the actual concept and the segments that they've been having relating to it have been, I think, really entertaining. Of course, this week we saw a bunch of guys trapped in an elevator with R-Truth, but there was no referee there. And then once they got out of the elevator, we saw R-Truth take off. And last we saw on WWE TV, he was trapped in a travel case, an equipment case, and was being loaded up to go to Raw this Monday night. So I'm sure we'll see another 24/7 segment tonight on Raw. Saw some new Firefly Funhouse video. Just some really disturbing stuff with Bray Wyatt kind of smashing Ramblin' Rabbit with the big mallet, and I think it was Lance Storm online who was kind of dissecting what we've seen of the Firefly Funhouse so far, and really kind of giving his analysis of it. And a lot of the stuff that he said, makes a lot of sense. That the Funhouse represents the WWE. That was the purpose of Bray hanging the sign, "Abandon all hope, ye who leave here, ye who exit here," whatever, however it was worded. And we saw the Huskus the pig getting screamed at by Vince McMahon. You'll never get a push if you don't get in shape, and things like that. And a lot of little, I guess, what you could call Easter eggs in the Firefly Funhouse. So it's really been, in my opinion, one of the best things on WWE TV the last several weeks. So there was a rumor floating around out there that Bray Wyatt is scheduled to be at Raw tonight. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be in the ring or even on camera, but it's interesting to know that he is actually supposed to be in the building, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Is it going to be another video for the Firefly Funhouse, or is Bray actually going to be in the arena? We've got new Raw Tag Team Champions in the Revival, so hopefully, the Tag Team division is kind of gone the same way as the women's division. There's just not being much attention paid to it. We had Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins win the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania, and haven't seen too much of them since then. And now, the Revival are the new Tag Team Champions, when it looked like they were kind of being used as a comedy act there for a little while. So there's really no clear focus or direction for the Tag Team division at the moment, which, is sad, because WWE's got some pretty good tag teams, and they could be putting on a lot of great tag team matches, but there's just no focus, like I said, on the tag team division on Raw or SmackDown. No focus, no clear direction. Now, talking about tag teams, it looks like there could be a new kind of faction forming in WWE called the Bloodline. That, of course, is Roman Reigns and the Usos. I'm all for this. I'm a big fan of the Usos, and, despite popular opinion of the guy, I am a fan of Roman Reigns. Just because of his work ethic. And, I think he gets a bad rap from a lot of people because he is has been pushed as the top guy for so long. But, at the moment, he's not in any title picture. He's in a rivalry with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. So, I think that's a good thing. Have him out of the title picture for a little while. Put him with somebody he can have some really good matches with, like a Drew McIntyre, and again, despite popular opinion, like a Shane McMahon. Talking about Shane, there's been rumors going around about him winning the WWE Championship from Kofi Kingston. I personally don't see this happening. I don't think it would be a smart move by the WWE, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. At this point, it is just a rumor. Another rumor floating around, Sasha Banks supposedly going to be returning soon. She's been recording content for the next WWE video game, 2K20. So supposedly she had a meeting with Vince McMahon a few weeks ago, and things are better between her and the WWE. Of course, she hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, so it'll be interesting to see how and when she comes back and what kind of position she's put in. Once she does come back, is she going to be in that strong position that she was before in title pictures and things like that, or is she going to be more or less used as kind of an enhancement talent and put on a losing streak, which kind of historically is what's done in the WWE to dissenters, quote unquote. So we'll have to see how she's used going forward when she comes back, because by all rights she still does have quite a bit of time left on her contract. But we'll have to see how things go for Sasha when and if she comes back. Some kind of surprising news. Mike Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis have signed new 5-year contracts with the WWE. That's, like I said, pretty unexpected. I mean, they had requested their release, it was denied. All pretty much everybody was assuming that they would, once their contracts were up, they'd be leaving for either Ring of Honor or Impact or AEW, or you know, just heading out on the indies or something along those lines. So, but yeah, the news broke this past week. They have signed new 5-year deals to remain with the WWE. So hopefully, I mean, I'm sure financially that's the best move for them. But hopefully, they're used better than they have been. I mean, I have no problem with them being on 205 Live, but they haven't been used in a very good spot in quite a while. So hopefully, that improves for them as well. Some other kind of stuff going around about WWE is Cardi B. I can't believe I'm talking about this. Possibly teaming with Carmella at SummerSlam, and this all came about because Cardi B happened to mention on social media that she was a wrestling fan growing up, and that just kind of set everybody talking. And of course, WWE jumped right on top of it because I mean, obviously it's mainstream exposure for them, so why wouldn't they? But yeah, I hope not. And it's nothing against Carmella. I like Carmella. I think she's improved vastly in the ring. If you look at her work now and her work in NXT, you do see a big difference in the ring, on the mic. I have no issue with Carmella whatsoever. But when they bring the celebrities in for the, and it's always some kind of tag team match, obviously, because they're gonna protect the celebrity by putting them in there with, numerous people who can watch out for them and make sure they're safe and everything like that. But just please no. That's the only thing I have to say. Please no. But moving on, there was also another rumor floating around that there will be no second Evolution pay-per-view, the all women's pay-per-view. That there are currently no plans to have that pay-per-view this year, and this is coming from Dave Meltzer. So take it with a grain of salt. I mean, I think you guys know by now how I feel about the Dirt Sheet guys, and Meltzer is the king of the Dirt Sheets, of course. But yeah, I mean, I who knows where he's getting his information from, but I think it would be a mistake to not have another women's pay-per-view, because I mean, I watched it, I thought it was fantastic. And the women don't get enough exposure on Raw and SmackDown, so I think they deserve to have that spotlight. I mean, it's one time a year, it's one pay-per-view out of the 12 to 14 that WWE has every year, so why not give them that stage to show what they can do, and give them that respect that they deserve, because these women, and it's been said multiple times, they work just as hard as the guys do, but don't get even half of the recognition sometime. And of course, a lot of people are saying, well, the only reason they had the first Evolution pay-per-view in the first place was because of Ronda Rousey, and that very well could be. Ronda Rousey brought a lot of mainstream attention to WWE, but I mean, her leaving WWE, taking a hiatus, or whatever the case is, it doesn't diminish the fact that you've got some phenomenal athletes on the women's roster, and they deserve that showcase. So hopefully they'll have another one at some point, but you never know. So moving on, some NXT news. It was announced at the TV tapings, and this hasn't aired yet, so it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I'm not gonna spoil it too much here. They're going to be having what they're calling a breakout tournament, and it's going to be basically 8 NXT wrestlers who have not made their TV debut yet. I'm not gonna say who they all are, but it's going to be 8 guys who have not made their NXT TV debut, and I believe that's going to be starting. Well, it's already started. They've already had the first few matches at TV tapings, but I would think those episodes will probably start airing either next week or the following week. So it should be interesting. Some of the names in this one are some pretty big names that NXT has picked up recently. So I'm looking forward to this one. Some more NXT news. There's been a lot of name changes going on in NXT, and I'm talking not less than a dozen guys have had their names changed over the last month or so. And I'm going to run down the list here, because these are some guys that made a pretty good name for themselves on the indies, but WWE being what it is, they want to own all of their superstars, and obviously not physically own them, but their characters, their likenesses, and their names. So that's why WWE typically will change an indie guy's name after they sign him so that they can, own all of the merchandising rights and things like that. So some of the names that have been changed, I mentioned some of these before. Shane Strickland is now Isaiah Scott. Garza Jr. is now Angel Garza. Jonah Rock is now Bronson Reed. Samuel Shaw is now Dexter Loomis. ACH is now Jordan Miles, and this is one I don't really understand because ACH, I mean, those are the guy's real initials. That's his, his real his real name basically. But so I've never understood why, if somebody's going by their real name on the indies, why they can't just keep that name when they get to WWE. Kind of the same thing with Finn Balor. He went by Prince Devitt in New Japan. His real name is Fergal Devitt. Why not let him keep that name? He's already fairly well known around the world, and but they completely change it up, and it's nothing like what the person's previous name was. So then that's basically what's been done with ACH. He's now known as Jordan Miles. DJZ now will be known as Joaquin Wilde. Adrian Jaoud is now Arturo Huas, I believe it's going to be, would be the proper pronunciation. The last name is Ruas. I'm assuming it's like the kind of like the MMA. There was an MMA fighter by the same name, and it was pronounced Huas. It was Brazilian, where the R is pronounced at like an H. So I'm guessing it's going to be Arturo Huas. Trevor Lee is now known as Cameron Grimes. Jesse Albin is now Jesse Kamea. Luke Menzies is now Ridge Holland. Eric Bugenhagen is now Rick Boogs, and his apparently is coming with a complete character makeover. Of course, Eric Bugenhagen, the one that kind of plays the air guitar and has that big, kind of what I call the hairband scream that he gives several times during the match when he hits a big move or something like that. But it looks like that character is pretty much gone. He's now going to be known as Rick Boogs, and he's had, new haircut, new ring gear, so we'll have to see what kind of direction that's going to go. And the first one that all this, of course, happened with was Punishment Martinez, who's now going to be known as Damian Priest, and he'll be making his TV debut on the episode of NXT that airs next week. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of direction they're going to go with him. Some of the vignettes they've been showing with him have been interesting, so I'm curious to see what kind of direction they're going to take the character. Going into some Impact news here, it looks like Pentagon and Phoenix are pretty much done with Impact. They've been moved to the alumni part of their roster page on the Impact website. And probably the big story that's going around about Impact right now is about Killer Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. Apparently, both of them have asked for releases in the last couple of weeks. Both have been denied, and Kross has not been quiet about why they're looking for a release. I mean, he had apparently asked for a pay raise that was also denied. And from things that he has been saying, they're just not being they're being treated badly, but that they're not being paid well by Impact Wrestling. Even going so far as to say that Scarlett is actually still living at home with her mother and still working a 9-to-5 job to make ends meet. And when you're signed to one of the major wrestling companies, which Impact is, whether you agree with that or not, it is what it is. I mean, they have signed talent who are making six-figure contracts. One of those guys is Sami Callihan. He's said it flat out. He's like, Impact is paying me a six-figure salary. So he said it on JR's podcast. As a matter of fact, he was one of the last guests on JR's podcast before they changed the format with him and Conrad Thompson. But he said Impact is paying me a guaranteed six-figure salary, so I don't have to work on the indies, but I still do because I love it. So you can't tell me that Impact doesn't have the means to pay their wrestlers a living wage so that they don't have to continue to live at home with their mother and work a 9-to-5 job just to make ends meet. That's kind of crazy when you're basically the I would say at this point the third or fourth biggest wrestling company in the United States. So I can definitely see the frustration there, but hopefully this is something that can get resolved where they will either grant them their release so they can go on and make more money somewhere else, or pay them what they're asking. I mean, I'm sure they're not asking for millions upon millions of dollars. They're just asking for enough to live on, so that they don't have to work 7 days a week and doing quote unquote regular job or things like that. So we'll have to see how this one plays out. But yeah, definitely not not the best PR thing for Impact going on right now. Some Ring of Honor news. It looks like Juice Robinson is done with Ring of Honor, which kind of curious to see what's going to happen with his stable that he's got going there. But yeah, apparently he is going to stick with New Japan. And sounds like a lot of New Japan talent doesn't really want to be booked with Ring of Honor anymore. Ring of Honor. It seems like here lately, the last few months, their reputation has dropped a little bit. Um, as far as wrestlers and fans, and it seemed to all start with, it might have started a little bit before this, but the thing that kind of really kind of cinched the fact that their reputation not the best anymore is when they brought in Enzo and Cass at their MSG event over WrestleMania weekend. A lot of people not happy about that, wrestlers and fans, because it seemed kind of like a WWE move just to kind of randomly have these guys jump in and interfere in what was otherwise a fantastic match. So yeah, again, hopefully this is something that can be turned around because Ring of Honor at one time was considered obviously not the biggest, but maybe the best North American wrestling company that there was. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, Juice Robinson apparently is done with Ring of Honor. Just wasn't happy with what was being done with him there. By the same token, Davey Boy Smith Jr. is done with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he's been kind of vocal about not being too happy about how he was used there. He just didn't think it was doing anything for his career being part of New Japan, so he pretty much walked away from that. But he has been a huge part of MLW. He's an MLW Tag Team Champion, part of the new Hart Foundation there with Teddy Hart and Brian Pillman Jr. So he is definitely doing well for himself there. So, but he's apparently made the choice to end his run with New Japan. Talking about New Japan, looks like we've got some new IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions. Those titles now being held by the Bullet Club in El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori. So, congratulations to the Bullet Club getting back in the title scene there. Other than obviously the Guerrillas of Destiny. Some more New Japan news. They made the announcements for the G1 Climax tournament starting up next month at their U.S. shows in Texas. And this is a stacked tournament, you guys. I am dying to see some of these matchups. Of course, it is a round-robin tournament, meaning each guy in each block wrestles every other guy in his block. And then it's done on a point system. You get 2 points for a victory, 1 for a draw, and 0 for a loss. After everyone has wrestled everybody else in their block, whoever has the most points in each block moves on to the final, and those two guys face off against each other to determine the winner of the tournament. So let's go through the blocks here for the G1 Climax. Block A, you've got Lance Archer, Evil, Bad Luck Fale, Kota Ibushi, Kenta, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Sonata, and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, Will Ospreay, of course, just won the Best of the Super Juniors tournament not that long ago, and made the announcement that he wants to be the first to win both tournaments in the same year. That's pretty much unheard of. So I'll be interested to see how far he gets in the tournament. Block B, you've got Jeff Cobb, Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, Jon Moxley, Tetsuya Naito, Juice Robinson, Taichi, Shingo Takagi, Jay White, and Toru Yano. So some great potential matchups here. Like I said, each guy has to wrestle everybody else in their block, so we're going to see some great matchups. One that jumps out at me right away that I would love to see is Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. I think that would be a fantastic match. So we'll have to see when that's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when. And today, New Japan did put out the first matchups for Block A. Right off the bat, we're going to see Kota Ibushi versus Kenta. That match should be just absolutely insane. I can't wait to see that one. Another big one is Kazuchika Okada versus Tanahashi. Now, of course, Tanahashi is the guy that saved Okada from the beatdown from Chris Jericho at New Japan's last big event, so that should be a great matchup there. Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer, Evil versus Bad Luck Fale, and Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr. So the first matchups looking really good here for the G1 Climax. Getting into some AEW news, it was announced that their Fighter Fest event coming up on June 29th is going to be free on Bleacher Report Live on their streaming app. So that's a huge announcement there. I know there was so many people that were upset about the pricing of Double or Nothing, which I said it before. I don't think personally that there was anything to complain about. The pricing was right in line with a major wrestling pay-per-view, which is what it was. So it is what it is. But yeah, Fighter Fest is going to be free. Some great matches have been announced for it. I'll of course do my usual thing of breaking down the card and giving my predictions and everything the week before that actually happens, which will be that'll be next week that I talk about that. Shawn Spears has officially signed with AEW. Shawn Spears, of course, the former Ty Dillinger, Perfect 10 from WWE. So that's pretty big news there. But probably the biggest news this week for AEW is All Out here in Chicago. Sold out in 15 minutes after tickets went on sale. Yeah, I was in there trying to get tickets. I did not get them. I was very disappointed. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the secondary market. Hopefully, I can get my hands on some tickets for a somewhat reasonable price before the event comes up. But yeah, I mean, in the virtual waiting room, there were about 70,000 people in there waiting to get tickets. I mean, they could have feasibly sold out Soldier Field here in Chicago, which those of you that aren't familiar, that's where the Chicago Bears, the NFL team, plays at. It's a huge outdoor stadium, like a place you would expect to see WrestleMania. With the number of people that were in the waiting room trying to get tickets, they could have sold out Soldier Field. So, that's something to think about. If there's that high of a demand for these tickets, that AEW is not something to be taken lightly. I know a lot of people still kind of scoff at it and things like that. And hey, you're entitled to your opinion, obviously, just like anybody else. But yeah, they could have easily sold out a football stadium with the number of people that were in there trying to get tickets. So that should say something. Looks like Tony Khan is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin's first guest when he starts his podcast back up. He's coming back from his hiatus tomorrow, as a matter of fact, June 18th. So looking forward to listening to that interview. Kind of a surprise. Austin, always been a WWE guy. I know he's doesn't work there anymore, obviously, but he was one kind of like Chris Jericho. You don't really expect to see him doing anything with anybody outside of WWE, and for him to be interviewing the president of AEW, kind of a big deal. So I'm looking forward to checking that interview out tomorrow when his podcast returns. Also, it looks like it happened last night. The Lucha Brothers defeated the Young Bucks for the AAA Tag Team titles, and it's pretty much what I predicted. I know I said it would happen at Triple Mania, but they apparently didn't want to wait that long. But yeah, so the Lucha Brothers defeated the Young Bucks in a great match at the AAA pay-per-view last night. Hopefully you guys got to check it out. It was streaming for free on Twitch. So yeah, the Bucks have dropped the AAA tag titles back to the Lucha Brothers in Mexico, as I predicted. So, kudos to me. Yes, I'm going to pat my own back on that one, because that's for everybody who was screaming about the Young Bucks booking themselves to win at Double or Nothing. I said at the time, AAA still controls the booking for their tag titles. I'm sure they want them to lose those titles back to the Lucha Brothers in Mexico at a AAA show, and that's exactly what happened. So, there you go. So the topic I wanted to talk about this week is TV ratings. Now, and it seems like wrestling is the only television shows where this happens. People are obsessed with TV ratings, and back during the Monday Night Wars, yeah, that was a big deal, because you basically had your audience was split, so it was a competition, and you would see either Raw or Nitro pulling 4, 5, 6 ratings, and at the time that was huge. You're talking millions of people watching it, and now it's not those big numbers don't really happen like that. Raw or SmackDown, you get right around say 2 million people watching. They're getting 2 point whatever ratings is pretty much the average now, and so many people put so much stock in that, but I think what people don't take into consideration is these ratings don't mean what they used to. People consume media in so many different ways now that weren't available back in the late 90s, early 2000s. There are yes, people still watch television shows, but some they DVR the shows and watch them later, so they're not watching it at the time that it's actually on. They use streaming services. They'll watch Raw and SmackDown when they're posted on Hulu the following day. Um, or they'll watch through other type of online means and YouTube and things like that. And so the actual television ratings, the number of viewers, doesn't mean what it used to, because they're and also the audience has now, as far as television goes, there are more options out there. There are more channels than there have ever been in the history of television. Like I said before, during the Monday Night Wars, 4 and 5 ratings were commonplace. It was expected. Now, the average is right around 2, and that's considered a good rating if they're getting like 2 million plus viewers per show. That's considered pretty good, and like I said, so it just doesn't mean what it used to. If when AEW debuts and they pull a 2.1 rating or something like that for their first episode of their television show, there's going to be a group of fans out there, the AEW detractors, because they are so prevalent out there. They're going to say that, oh, they only pulled a 2.1, that's a failure. No, it's really not, because I'm sure, again, people are going to DVR the show. They may be able to watch. I don't know if they're going to be posting the weekly show on Bleacher Report Live on the app, so people may watch it that way, and it's it doesn't mean what it used to. Else I've repeating it over and over again. Ratings don't mean what they used to, and I don't think people take into consideration what television ratings actually are. It's not an accurate count of how many people are tuned into that television show. It's the ratings are put out by a company called Nielsen, and the way it works is they will install their device in somebody's house, or I don't even know if they still use devices, but they take a sample, is what they're doing, and applying it to the entire population of a city. Say in a city there's 1 million people in a city. They may monitor what 1,000 of those people are viewing, and apply that to the entire group. And it's not really 100% accurate, and it's really old-fashioned and outdated, because you can't tell me the technology doesn't exist through all the cable companies at any given time. I mean, they're constantly connected to the if you have cable, your cable company is constantly connected to the cable box attached to your television. So you can't tell me they can't go in and tell you exactly who's watching what at any given time. The technology is there to get a 100% accurate count. Okay, there's 500 people are watching channel 4, 10,000 people are watching channel 8, and things like that. So, but it's not done that way. I don't know why. Maybe it's just not cost effective to monitor things like that 24 hours a day. But for whatever reason, the rating system that's used is just not accurate. So it's really not something that should that anyone should hang their hat on as far as determining success of a television product. And it seems like really the only ones that seem to care so much about ratings are wrestling fans. They're the only ones that you will ever hear talk about it. The ratings of Raw versus the ratings of SmackDown, or when AEW starts up in October, it'll be the ratings of Raw versus AEW show, or and against SmackDown, and things like that. You don't hear anyone else ever talking about this. You don't hear Walking Dead fans screaming about, oh, the Walking Dead has such higher ratings than whatever other television show is popular out there. I really have no idea. I don't watch much other than wrestling anymore. But maybe a good example would be what some things I used to watch on TV were all the superhero shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Gotham and The Flash and things like that. That'd be like me saying, oh, Gotham pulled a 3.0 rating and The Flash only pulled a 2.1. You don't hear that from other fans about other TV shows. The only ones that seem to live and die by the ratings are wrestling fans, and I really don't understand why. When it comes down to it, guys, watch what you like. Support the product that you actually like. I think so many people out there watch a product just so that they can go online and complain about it the next day, and that's just ridiculous, because all you're doing is adding to their numbers. If you really hate it so much, change the channel. Put on something else. I watch WWE, I watch Ring of Honor, I watch Impact, I watch MLW, I watch New Japan, I check out indies here and there when I can. And I support all the wrestling products because I love professional wrestling. Period. I don't care if I'm the only one watching it. If I'm watching Impact on Twitch on Friday and I'm the only person in that room, which I never am, but I don't care. I'm still gonna watch it. I don't care how many other people are watching it. All I care about is I'm watching it because I like it. I enjoy it. And I do it for this show, obviously, so that I can tell you guys what's going on in wrestling and, my opinions on it and things like that. So, the bottom line, the whole point of all of this is, guys, watch what you like, support the product that you like. It doesn't matter how many other people are watching it or what the ratings say about it. It really doesn't matter, because if you look at WWE's ratings now compared to 1998 or 1999, now versus 20 years ago, basically, it would look like they've completely fallen off and they're failing, and you would think they're on their last leg, but they're making more money than they ever have in the history of the company. So, TV ratings are not a gauge for success. And because at one time, Impact had some pretty good television ratings, not WWE level, but they had some pretty good TV ratings. But financially, they were in some serious trouble. So, again, you cannot gauge a company's success by what their television ratings are. So, I don't understand why wrestling fans seem to care so much. I really don't. But it is what it is. But like I said, watch what you like, watch what you enjoy, support the companies that you enjoy. I personally find enjoyment in all of them. Yes, even WWE, and it's hard to find sometimes. Hard to find something good to grab onto with WWE, but it is there. Just watch closely. I'm sure you can find it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for this week. Again, sorry for getting the show up late. Just wasn't able to get online yesterday to get it broadcast and recorded and everything. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Again, thank you to everybody for listening and subscribing on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and live right here on Twitch. We'll be back to our normal schedule next week, Sunday at 3 p.m. on Twitch, and then posted to all of the regular outlets after that. Thank you to everybody for following on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn. On all of those, you can find the show at Catch Hook Shoot. Make sure you check out the Patreon page, patreon.com/CatchHookShoot. Check out the Pro Wrestling Tees store, prowrestlingtees.com/CatchHookShoot. And if you ever want to shoot an email, it's catchhookshoot@gmail.com. So with that, I will sign off for today. Again, thank you everybody for checking out the show, and I will talk to you guys soon.